Good evening and welcome to the Pelican Sports Postgame Show. It's a final score from Starkville, 37-7. Mississippi State whips LSU from the coin toss all the way on. I don't know the gentleman to my left. He has a bag on his head, a la Buddy DiLiberto did this like a long time ago. 37-7, Mississippi State. Again, it's just from the get-go, it was all Bulldogs, a big crowd, penalties, mistakes. I don't know if you find anything good LSU did. Hey, I'm Tommy Chrysler. We want to hear from you. 225-928-4910. The text message line is area code 504-689-9246. The gentleman on my left is named Buddy Sanji, as you see on your screen. Bud, man, do you have anything to say?
Good evening, everybody. It is the day and night of the bags. Unfortunately, LSU laid an egg. You know, TK, we were talking on Friday with Brian Lazar from Sullivan's, and I said, listen, this is a game that the nation is going to find out about Danny Etling and Ed Orgeron. The nation wasn't buying it. I got a ton of calls from Starkville saying everybody in Starkville thinks they're going to eat up Danny Etling and Coach O and the whole 9 yards. And TK, I will do this first segment in deference to Buddy D and all the folks that want to have a bag on their head tonight. But we appreciate you tuning in, and I will have sunglasses the rest of the night. It was almost as bad as looking at the eclipse without the eclipse glasses on.
Buddy, I can't disagree with anything you said. I mean, this was Mississippi State from the coin toss on. Yeah, penalty early against LSU, what I thought was a cheap penalty. It took away DJ Shark's touchdown. But I can't find anything good LSU did tonight. Can you, Buddy?
Well, you know, last week, the last couple of weeks, I was trying to tell people that Mississippi State was appreciably better. TK, here's the reality of it as I adjust this bag on my head here tonight. We apologize to props. These games go so fast because LSU runs the ball so much. First and foremost, Matt Canada's got to get a tongue lashing tonight. I thought he did an absolutely horrific job of calling plays. They continued to run the football. The penalty that took away the touchdown was certainly a bad call, and I think every LSU fan can agree with that. But TK, once again, what did we say last week about too much mustard on the hot dog? LSU's got a bunch of pointers and talkers, but they just don't have the kind of line of scrimmage play that you need in the SEC. Injuries, penalties, people missing tackles, and you just got to say it. Dan Mullen and Mississippi State took LSU out back, and we all know that LSU has not won since 1999 in Starkville, but this was nothing but a good old-fashioned butt-kicking tonight. And TK, it leaves a lot of LSU fans in questioning what's going to happen.
All right, 37-7, the phone lines and the text messages lines are lighting up. One text message says, total humiliation, too many penalties, 2 players kicked out of the game, 2 touchdowns called back. Wow, who's worse, the Saints or LSU? Things are jumping. Let's go to the phone lines. Frank in Baton Rouge. Frank, you're on the postgame show.
Yes, sir. This is am I on air?
Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I'm calling just to say, I hope everybody who's really excited about hiring the hometown favorite and the replacement hero kind of sees what we got. No discipline, not much you can do besides clap and kind of just put his hands in his face when things aren't going good. I'm afraid it's going to be a long year, and I think we might take a step back from the Les Miles era.
A step back, I guess, 0-1 in conference play now, and I mean,
when did Mississippi State beat LSU this bad during Les Miles' tenure?
Not during Les Miles' tenure, no.
No, I mean,
you got to go back to 1954. Mississippi State beat LSU 25-0. I mean, nobody even knows what was going on back then. So,
well, look, don't get me wrong. I don't want Les Miles back, but I was told that Matt Canada and Dave Aranda, those coordinators, all Coach O had to do was just kind of sit there and clap and say 1 team, 1 heartbeat, we'd be fine.
Well, it didn't work out at all tonight, and we talked about after the first 2 games they had things to clean up, had things they had to do. That's magnified times 100 now. There's one text message here, they just laid an egg. They just didn't show up. They weren't ready to play. They were undisciplined. The penalties couldn't line up. The illegal formations, had to call a timeout late in the third quarter because they couldn't get the team lined up correctly. And then I wrote it down. They were down 23-7. They ran the ball on first down. They were down 30-7. Ran the ball on first down. It's almost like they threw the towel in. What else you got, Frank?
All else I got was, I was really excited about, Matt Canada and the year coming in, and just, willing to give Coach O a chance. But I don't think anything's changed on offense for us besides we had a little speed sweep and we moved off the linemen from the strong side to the weak side for whatever reason. So I don't think it's going to get any better in a week. And that last stretch of conference play at the end of the year where we played by 5 straight SEC could get ugly.
All right, thank you, Frank.
Yeah, finishing up with 7 straight in the conference, TK. And look, let's just call it the way it is. The offensive and defensive lines got dominated. You saw it in the first half. Mississippi State was pushing LSU back on almost every play. Do you realize, folks, they did not go 3 and out one time in the first 3 quarters? LSU didn't get them in 3 and out, TK. Not once in the first 3 quarters.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Rocco in Baton Rouge. Rocco, you're on the post-game show.
How y'all tonight?
Hey, Rock. Go ahead, Rock.
This is Frank, really.
Oh, Frank. Okay. Well, Frank, we have it about the same hookup on the names as LSU and Danny Etling had throwing the football.
This is
Well,
Frank.
it's like I told y'all last week, we can talk football this week when they play Mississippi State. And I'm going to be honest. I don't care what anybody says. This is going to be a learning season for them. They can beat an average team, but they can't beat a good team. They just not there. And if you saw tonight, they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't even put their helmet on straight.
Total undisciplined with the penalties. What is DJ Shark doing when a guy is getting ready to score and block somebody on the 2-yard line illegally? What are these two guys, Alexander and Neil Farrell, doing targeting? They know the rule. I mean, Frank, you could see the frustration, but one of the first things that you have to do when you're a coach is come up with a game plan. But you also, now let's talk about this, guys and ladies. This is the 3rd consecutive week that LSU's been double digits in penalties. Frank?
I agree with you.
I just don't see any improvement in some of the stupid things that they've done. And look, we've got to come to the realization, TK. You talk to Mike Scarborough every Wednesday. I talk to him every Wednesday. LSU doesn't have the studs in the line of scrimmage, and physical teams are going to steamroll them. And everybody wanted to say LSU is this close to Alabama talent. TK, did you see Alabama talent at the line of scrimmage for LSU tonight?
They got
Not even close, Frank.
I just hate to say one thing. It's going to be a learning season. It's going to be a mediocre season, and big LSU fans were geared up for they could walk on water, which they can't do. They can't. I don't even think they can swim.
Well, BYU, we've already seen, TK and Frank. BYU is not a good football team.
And they got whipped today by Wisconsin.
Yeah, they got whipped at home again. So, Frank, it's a long year. We don't want anybody to give up. But I got to tell you something, Frank. Matt Canada has some improving to do. Danny Etling still suspect. We know he was under duress and under pressure. Bottom line is the offensive and defensive lines got that butt kicked tonight. And Mississippi State wanted it more. They played smarter. They had a better game plan. They outcoached LSU. They outplayed LSU. And I think their fans probably outcheered the Tiger fans with the cowbell. So it's just their night, TK. You gotta give Mississippi State some credit.
What else you got, Frank?
That's about it. I'm going to let somebody else call and let them complain.
All right, we got a text message that says 0 discipline. If they win 6 games this year, I'd be shocked. Went for one blown coverage. It'd been 37-0 if Mississippi State wouldn't have blown it. Did not put Miles Brennan in. home games. Had lots of no-shows the rest of the year. Back to the middle of the pack. Undisciplined, lack of control. Looked tired after halftime. Let's go to Aaron on line 3. Aaron, you're on the post-game show.
Hey, TK buddy, it's Rocco.
All right, Rocco
Hey,
on
Rock.
the post-game show.
Hey, a little shout out to your grandson there, TK. That you had to push right back out.
Yeah,
Oh.
he was supposed to do that later, but that's all right. He doesn't know.
Hey, it's good to be a papa.
Yep.
Look, my friend, guys, the problem, in my opinion, is obviously LSU went out last year and didn't spend the money they needed to spend to get a true head coach. You're talking about a guy that won 10 games in 3 years at Ole Miss, And look, I love Bebe. I mean, everybody loves the guy, but when you got the opportunity to go out there and seize a good coach and spend the money, you got to do what you got to do. Now, we have 2 great coordinators. There's no question about that. But the bottom line is you need to have the guy to put those guys together to make them do their job. And, one thing, Billy Gonzalez, who's the actual, right now, he's at Mississippi State, used to be my neighbor. And he actually is the offensive pass coordinator right now over there. And he also coaches the wide receivers, passing coordinator, rather. But the one thing he always said about Les Miles is a very, very smart man, okay? This guy took over 2 teams, and, yeah, they went on to win some games. But, when you fire a head coach, everybody's pumped up. They're looking for a change. They're going to go out and do the things they need to do because that's where they are at that time in that year. Doesn't necessarily mean the guy that's leading them is the guy to take them to the next season. And that's what you see right now. And look, I want them to win. I'm behind him because he's our head coach. But honestly, do you think right now, after what you saw tonight, that this was the best man to hire for LSU?
No, we got some text messages say he won't be around 2 years. Total disaster. I don't know if that's jumping the gun or not, but tonight was a total disaster.
But Rocco, it's like, me being 30 pounds overweight. I can't lose 30 pounds with the snap of a finger. Ed Orgeron is the coach, and Joe Oliva has already given him a big fat buyout. So it goes back to the AD and the search. And look, let's not get off on this path because you certainly make a lot of valid points. But let's be honest. You're stuck with O. You got to make the best of it. And bottom line is, I got a bag on my head because that's what they deserve after tonight.
All right. What else you got, Rocco?
Well, I mean, it stunk, that's for sure. But again, I'll go back to what I alluded to earlier. You have 2 of the best coordinators in the game right now. And if you can't put it together with them and go out and beat Mississippi State, you want to talk about a long season? We're about to see one.
Thank you, Rocco.
Thank you, Rocco. One text message before we go to break, buddy. You ready for this one?
Uh-huh.
Look on the bright side. At least they didn't miss any field goals today. Hey, we're going to take a break, come back, keep the phone lines and the text messages jumping. Another 20 text messages to get to. Give us a call, send us a text. It's over. Mississippi State 37-7. Coming up a little bit later, Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. And we'll go to Starkville. Ronnie Rance will tell us what Coach O had to say after the game. He'll talk to some players as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue with more of the Pelican Sports Postgame Show right after this pause. Stay with us. Acord Eye Clinic Vision Source is located on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge, offering full-service optical and lab work. Dr. Shonda Acord and the professionally trained staff pride themselves on service, complete eye exams, help with contact lenses, and selection of frames featuring Silhouette, Gucci, Jimmy Choo, and all the top lines. State-of-the-art equipment including Optimap, which digitally photographs your retina. Call Acord Eye Clinic for an appointment, 225-767-3937. That's 225-767-3937. Visit the website, visionsource-br.com. All patients of all ages are welcome. Acord Eye Clinic, Vision Source.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair.
My name is Raven. I work at Debbie's Bridal, and she makes your dreams come true.
Spread the roar. That's right, Tigers Roar. Each Wednesday night at 8 p.m., Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans. Replays are Thursday through Saturday, and the show is available at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Tommy Chrysan and Jordy Holtberg will have the latest on LSU football, LSU sports, and sports from across Louisiana. Spread the roar. Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Continue with the Pelican Sports post-game show. Don't forget, this will repeat Sunday mornings, 9 and 10:30. We're on radio. We're on TV. Give us a call, 225-928-4910. The lines are jumping. Text message line, area code 504-689-9246. Let's go to Steve in Paradise. Steve, you're on the post-game show.
My, oh my, how a fall from grace can end the honeymoon quick, can it?
Yeah, Steve, unfortunately, this is a reality check for the LSU fans. You know, Rocco was trying to connect the dots with Les Miles and all. I just got a bunch of text messages. Look, Les didn't recruit well at the back end of his tenure. We all know that. And where he didn't recruit well is at the line of scrimmage. And it's hard to tell people when you get all these skilled people, TK and Steve, that the foundation is not built. And if you have a couple injuries, Rashard Lawrence is the best player on that defensive line. Hey, let's give Lockentour some credit. He played hard tonight. But 2 targeting calls, playing stupid, undisciplined, penalties, can't complete a pass. And then offensive philosophy, I'm sorry, but if Matt Canada's worth $1.5 million, he wasn't worth $100,000 tonight.
You know what bothered me a little bit tonight? They said during the broadcast that Ed Orgeron brought more referees, hired referees
He
to come
did.
in for practice. Wait, referees don't commit penalties. They call penalties, okay? That makes no sense. You got to get the players to stop making penalties. You can have 1,000 refs out there. They make a penalty, they're still making a penalty. Either that or the reporter got that wrong.
And why did not Miles Brennan get a taste of SEC road play when it's obvious Danny can't throw it in the ocean? The other thing that drove me crazy, Derek Dillon scores on a touchdown. He looks as fast as anybody they've got. You don't see him again for like 2 quarters.
What else, Steve?
Steve, it was just horrific tonight.
Yeah, you know, as much as I would like to blame play calling, and the offensive play calling was abysmal. You know, you're going play action on 3rd and 2 when you hand a damn ball to Darius Guice because he's picking up 3 and 4 yards a carry. Other than that, I love to. We'll talk about play calling another time. This is a total lack of discipline on this football team, and I'm just telling you now, you're not going to win an SEC game on the road. I don't care who it is if you're committing these boneheaded, stupid penalties that this team is continuing to do. You can fix the kicking game. You can fix penalties, but they haven't done near enough to control these football players. Look, both of those targeting calls,
They were on his calls. Now that holding call on that touchdown pass, the first one LSU had, that was a total crap play. That was a guy they tried to call it for picking is what they were doing really.
Yeah.
And he was just running a route. But what I'm telling you is, you know what? I didn't hear any of this. I'm not able to pick you guys up on TV, and I can't pick up the radio on my phone for some reason tonight. But I can tell you this: there's one thing I know is a fact. Les Miles won the games he was supposed to win. He didn't lose the ones he was not. He had a hard time at the end winning the ones he really wasn't favored to win. But this is total crap, and I'm telling you now. So you've got 2 more pushover games, and then your real test comes on the road at Florida. You commit half of these penalties in Gainesville, you're going to lose that football game. So, I mean, look, and it's not just because I'm upset or I'm mad. I'm just telling you this is easily going down to look like a team that could lose 4 football games or more before this is said and done if they don't straighten it out.
Thank you, Steve-O.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you're on the post-game show.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call.
Good evening, Ron.
I thought I was watching Ken Cameron.
Gotta listen to your phone.
Listen to your phone, Ron, not the TV. Come on, you're not a rookie.
I thought I was watching Ken Cameron call his game.
You're not alone. A lot of people thought Cam Cameron was calling the game, including me.
Well, look, Ron, Coach Canada and Coach O have got to answer some tough questions after the game, but I thought the offensive game plan was abysmal, especially after you saw, Ron, you wasn't going to be able to line up and run the football. Darius Geis is not running as well as he did last year. Put the tape in against A&M. Put the tape in now. It's 2 different players. Unfortunately, success has ruined him a little bit. He needs to get his act together and start leading again. All this stupid stuff on the ATV, it gets back to being undisciplined. You got too much mustard on the hot dog. It's time they ring those guys in and read them the right act and say, let your football play do the talking. LSU yaps like a top 10 team. They played like a top 50 team tonight.
Well, you know, I was watching the game. I couldn't figure out who was the worst coordinator. The offensive coordinator calling this part or the defensive coordinator calling this part? And here's something else I'd like to ask. Do you know do they know how to do a screenplay?
Yeah, I thought this really disappointed me. I thought Canada did not spread the field. We talked about backs getting involved in the passing game. TK, look, a lot of questions to be answered, Ron. I agree with those assessments. I will say this. Dave Aranda has had every defense that he's put on the field in the top 10 going back to his days at Wisconsin. So I'm going to tell you that Aranda has more skins on the wall than Canada right now.
Well, it sure didn't look good.
Nope. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. Before we get to Mark, buddy, does LSU fall out of the top 25? It depends a little bit on what other people do. I get that.
Yeah, they're looking 22 to 23 for me.
And State probably jumps in
Oh,
there. If they beat a 12 team, they're going to be 16, 17,
LSU
18.
may be 23, 24
Let's go.
out.
One more call before break. Mark in Baton Rouge. Mark, you're on the post-game show.
Man, what just went on in that stadium?
Can't find anything good.
Exactly. The last I can remember us playing this poorly, and maybe I am wrong, is the last time we lost so badly to Alabama in that big game, buddy. What year was that? 2011.
Well, that was the 2011 regular season where they played Mulligan from Bama because Okie State choked and they got shut out. That was January 9th, 2012, which will forever be indelibly marked in our memories. And this one is right up there, but TK, obviously it's the first SEC game. You can recover. That was the final game of the year and the season, and they finished second to Bama. But look, I was nervous before the game. I felt bad all day long. I said, goodness gracious, Herbstreit picking Mississippi State. Let's give Herbstreit credit. He said they were going to beat him, and everybody was going to jump on the Mississippi State bandwagon. We all said, oh, Herbstreit, you're this, you're that. He made a good call.
He got
it right. And Mark, now here's the thing. This is what happens whenever you run into adversity. Everybody's going to be pointing fingers. Everybody's going to be critical. Everybody's going to tell you how bad you are. And this is what the good coaches do. They gather everybody in. Let's wash it. Let's forget it. But let's see how this team and these coaches rebound, because let's be honest, Mark, this is going to be a spicy week in Baton Rouge.
Oh man, let me tell you something. The best word I could come up with to describe this game tonight was undisciplined. There's a lack. There's no sense of urgency that I detected on that game. Maybe I'm wrong. I had a friend that was texting me during the game. He was watching it up from South Carolina. He told me that it looked like we were out of sync. And I told him, no, we're undisciplined right now. So I wanted to ask you, buddy, because you've been monitoring this. Is the practice having anything that – I know that this coach believes in laying a little bit off on the practicing so that when it gets time for game time, our boys are ready to go. But I'm just wondering whether that philosophy's got to change.
Well, I don't think that has to change, but I think what has to change, Mark and TK, they've got to get some five-star recruits in the offensive and defensive line. They lost Marvin Wilson to Florida State. Marvin Wilson would be starting. Like I said, let's give Locouture credit. He played his butt off. Arden Key, they wanted to play him 30 to 35 plays. I don't know if he played 45 or 50. He played hard.
Way overweight, too.
Way overweight. Devin White made some, but missing tackles. But, Mark, let's give Mississippi State credit.
Yes.
They were the better team, and they pushed LSU around. I've been saying this, TK, since we've been doing this show the last 3-4 years. LSU doesn't have the snot knockers that they had in 2011. And until you get those kind of caliber players in the trenches, you potentially can run into this when you go up against a good physical team. They waited for LSU on the side of the road, and tonight they just gave them an old-fashioned butt whipping, Mark.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about this last week, that it would be a 10-2 season. I think we need to revise this whole season.
I think so, Mark.
Well, that's the crazy thing, real quick, TK and Mark. When you watch Florida and Tennessee play, and you watch all the LSU people on the schedule play, you said, hey, LSU can win every game but Alabama. Now all that's going up in smoke, Mark.
Yep. Well, thanks a bunch, guys.
Thank you, Mark. Hey, here's a text message. TK and Buddy, remember they have the highest paid coaching staff in the country, and our offense looked worse tonight. Let's see, 6 wins at best, out of the top 25 for sure. There's a text message. Another one, maybe Buddy should coach because he knows everything. No, Buddy's being honest. How many 5-star State has? 1. Coaching matters. Dan Mullen got it done 37-7, again, from the get-go. I think it's comical but true. The silver lining, they didn't miss a field goal tonight. That's the only good thing you can say about LSU, and, of course, that didn't matter. We got to get to a break. When we come back, more phone calls. We'll have Daniel up when we come back. Your text messages, Buddy Sanji, Tommy Chrysan, Mississippi State 37, LSU 7. That's the final. We're back after this pause. Stay with us.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hooper Road Car Care in Central has been serving customers for over 24 years. Locally owned by Donald and Gina Gaspard, they provide all types of car care, including brakes, alignment, tune-ups, oil changes, AC service, transmission, computer diagnostic, and much more. Hooper Road Car Care also provides towing services. Call 225-262-7127. Open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30, 9695 Hooper Road in Central.
Jaguar Nation, I'd like to say thank you for your continued support of our student athletes and our coaches. Once again, you have shown America we have the greatest fans in the country. It's time. Football season. Season tickets are available. Go Jags.
Cypress Lake Apartments are conveniently located off Segan Lane in Baton Rouge, a CLK multifamily management property. Come see this community, which has many amenities including swimming pools, fitness room, playground, and much more. 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. Stop by Cypress Lake Apartments, call 225-293-6789, or go online, live at cypresslakeapts.com. Might have a lot of laundry to do, and we've got the people you got to call, Laundry Diva. They will pick it up and deliver it. Cheaper than doing it yourself, cheaper than going to the laundromat, and it saves you money, it saves you time. Wash and fold, bedding, linens, dry cleaning. Drop your pants, never do your laundry again. Pick up and delivery service on the LSU campus and the surrounding apartment communities, or if you're anywhere in town, just give them a call. Go to the website, Laundry Diva. They're over there on Coursey Boulevard, just to the east of Sherwood Forest, but you can call them 225-614-1326 or visit their website, laundrydivau.com. They have a student tab there for you students that want your laundry picked up and delivered. Anyone else, pick up and delivery, saving you time, saving you money. LaundryDivaU.com, 225-614-1326. Do check them out. You will be glad you did. Buddy, Mississippi State, here's a text. Outplayed, out-hustled, outsmarted, out-coached LSU tonight. Losing's one thing, but that was an embarrassment for LSU. That was a national humiliation on another text message. And then how does Dan Mullen look now? Hey, there we go. Let's go to the lines. He's been holding Daniel in Baton Rouge. Daniel, thank you for holding you on a postgame show.
Thank you, TK. I want to tell you I appreciate your afternoon show and Buddy's afternoon show on the way home. I listened to both of them. Great alternative to FM.
Thank you.
But I tell my neighbors I'm not an avid LSU fan. I try and see things objectively, and I've told them for the last few months, you know, you have a quarterback who's, I know he works hard, he studies film. He's just not as good an athlete as maybe an SEC quarterback needs to be. A little bit disappointed in the LSU defense tonight, but I believe that LSU will lose to Auburn, Florida, and Alabama. Just don't have that quarterback who has the strength of arm to better make those throws. And I think LSU is a good team. It's hard to not pull for Orgeron. He's a great coach, and you know, homeboy, you want to pull for him. But I just think that's what you have is what he's inherited right now. Only so much he can do. I'll hang up and let you comment on that. Thank you very much for y'all's show in the afternoon. I appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right, buddy. Appreciate it, Dan.
Appreciate it.
Nice comments, objective comments. And look, I know it's going to be very kosher for everybody to want to kick Ed and say he's done and all that other stuff. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. For that caller that said that I should coach and I know everything, there's a couple things I do know, and that the SEC is one in the trenches. And TK, when you're watching the warm-ups and the talk about the linemen, LSU does not have the defensive linemen right now that they had in their heyday. And, you know, Tiger fans, you might not want to hear it. I apologize for being realistic. But LSU has gone from up here, and unfortunately, TK, they're in the middle of the pack in the SEC.
All right, let's go to Kenny P. in Baton Rouge. Kenny, you're on the postgame show.
Kenny, listen to your phone, not your TV.
Hello, Kenny. All right, Kenny is gone. Let's go to Rick from Springfield. Rick, you're on the post-game show.
Hello.
Go ahead, Rick.
This is Kenny P.
Hey, Kenny P. All right, Ken.
Hey, buddy. Look, I hear what you're saying. Tommy, I want to ask you, though, what are your thoughts on it? My thoughts on looking at the game here, we got a young team. We're trying to rebuild, in my opinion, because we lost a lot of guys to the NFL. I've got folks on Facebook wanting to fire Orgeron right now, saying that we need another coach and he wasn't the right hire. I don't know. I mean, my whole thought on this game was from the onset, we scored some touchdowns that were called back, and I think that there were some bad calls in this game. And I don't want to put it all on the referees, but I think that sets a tone with players when you're in a game and you're stuck in a rut trying to get through the game, and you keep getting these calls. Touchdown call back, you get an offensive lineman pushed out. And one of the calls, the offensive lineman thrown out, defensive lineman thrown out, I agree with. The second one I didn't agree with. But I was frustrated watching how we weren't able to get into our groove and get things going. But I don't know. Thoughts?
No, I think you're right. It never did get into a groove. On any aspect of the game. Groudon about wore his leg out punting the ball at least 7 punts tonight. That's a good way to put it, Ken. It never did get into a groove in any way, shape, or form. I think you got to say some of that's because of Mississippi State, who came ready to play, came to get after it, wanted to win their conference opener, wanted to win in front of the packed house in Starkville. So, I think Mississippi State has to get some credit, but LSU did nothing to try to adjust, to change, kept handing it off on first down. Not every time, but just about every time. And they just played poorly. State played well. We talked about Nick Fitzgerald all week on the radio, how he was big, he was fast, might be one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. He lived up to that billing tonight.
Well, does that make a bad coach and a bad hire? And if so, I mean, who should you have gone out and gotten?
Well, Kenny, I look at that two ways, okay? I mean, when you get beat 37-7, it's easy for a fan to say, okay, he's terrible, fire him, get rid of him now. That tends to be an overreaction. But I think it is a cause for concern, the fact that they weren't ready, they haven't cleaned up the penalties yet. The discipline on this team is not there that you need to have to be successful in the long term. Look at Tennessee today. Guy scores a touchdown, gets a taunting penalty, costs him 15 yards. That's a selfish move. No respect for his teammates. The guy number 4 for Tennessee. Well, Geis got that last week, but tonight, I mean, no player wants to commit a penalty, but you got to play the game where you're not committing that many penalties. Are the refs going to make a mistake? Yes, they are. They have. They will. I think we're going to find out what Coach O said after the game, but he's going to want to go back to the drawing board. Tell the truth Monday. There might be a lot of truthful statements that some players don't want to hear.
Kenny?
Hey.
Tell me the last 5-star LSU recruited in the line of scrimmage.
Buddy, that's a good one.
Maya Tahuma, and he's playing at Southeastern.
My alma mater.
Because he left. Whatever trouble they had with him. Look, they're not good enough.
Here's another thought. A couple of years ago, we were talking about Dave Aranda being this defensive genius, and you couldn't have any problems with him. He was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And this year, you come in and you see a few games where he's had a few little glitches here. In this game, Mississippi State obviously exposed some weaknesses and some issues we have. So is he that bad of a coach, or is that great of a coach, or is he really not as good as we thought he was?
No, his resume proves he's one of the best coaches in the country. Perfect example, TK, of the undisciplined. They get off the field on a third down stop, and Donnie Alexander is hitting the quarterback, targeting, and not only does he get tossed out of the game, so you got to go to your freshman linebacker playing his first road game in the SEC, but they pick up the first down and 15 yards. A little bit later, Neil Farrell does it. Kenny, way too much talking with this football team. I tell every one of them, I don't want to see your hand up in the air. I don't want to see all that yapping. By the way, in case you don't know it, Jeffrey Simmons of Mississippi State came over and started some yapping. A
little pushing and shoving.
John Battle and all them. Every time this seems to happen, this team, it happened last year with Florida. What was the result?
They got whooped.
I think they got to go back to basics and get fundamentally sound again. But I will say this, and I've said it for 2-3 years. LSU's not good enough in the line of scrimmage, and look at the recruiting. I think it bears it out that you've got to get some guys that throw people around, and they got thrown around tonight, Kenny. I don't know how closely you watched the line of scrimmage, but Mississippi State dominated the line of scrimmage tonight.
Oh, I saw it. I knew they had a good offensive front, and that's been talked about all week long, and they definitely showed it tonight.
Hey, I don't think I think people have got to hang in there with Coach O, but boy, this is going to make it get a little spicier in Baton Rouge this weekend.
Well, the thing I hate hearing I see on Facebook, people back and forth on it already is oh, y'all want to get rid of Les Miles, and look where we are now, and look at O didn't do anything, he didn't prove anything. So now we're going to hear the coaching banter for the next couple of weeks.
Well, that's part of it.
Yeah. And Les is part of the problem with the recruiting in the last 3 years.
Absolutely. That's why the cupboard's bare right now.
And the line of scrimmage particularly. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
All right, one more call before the next break. Big Daddy is in Lafayette. You're on the post-game show, Big Daddy.
Hey, Tommy, thank you for calling. Thank you for taking my call. Let me tell you one thing. Big Chief, not so bad compared to Dave Aranda tonight. It was not a good night for the Tigers. I will say this. I love Ed Ogeron. I love the boys on the front line, but it was not good on the offensive line tonight. We did not block. We did not block anybody worth a shit, and it was very disappointing.
Come on now, let's keep it clean if we can, Big Daddy.
I appreciate that call. We'll take a break, come right back. Let's get a couple text messages before the break. Make plans for Shreveport. I said independent.
I had somebody texting me that during the game.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Actual attendance next weekend versus Syracuse. By the way, that's either a 6 or a 6:30 kickoff. We'll be on about 9:30, 9:45. What's the actual attendance next week? Over or under 75? I say under. I answer that question. Under. Let's see. There we go. Out-coached, outplayed, out-hustled, the whole bit. Let's take a break, come back, some more phone calls, some more text messages. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Krysan, the Pelican Sports Postgame Show on WUBR, CBS Sports Radio, 9:10 a.m. The smartphones, get the app, WUBR, CBS Sports Radio. And, of course, Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, and on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For Total Pest Control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, hardy plank, or siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in Baton Rouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows, it's an honor to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
Misery
post-game show. Not a good-looking night at all in Starkville. Well, if you're a Mississippi State fan, it was 37-7. LSU now 2-1 on the season, 0-1 in conference play. A couple of non-conference games coming up with Syracuse and Troy. Chance to maybe get some things better, because then after that it's 7 straight conference games and most of them on the road. Text message, buddy, I want your reaction to this one. How can Oliva hire a head coach whose only qualification is he's a coon ass? Oliva needs to be fired. Your thoughts?
Well, the biggest problem, if you really want to go back and be honest about it, the biggest problem was when Joe got played by Jeff Long of Arkansas, and he gave Les Miles that incredible extension and raise and buyout to where he was getting so much money. We all know that Jimbo Fisher was heavily involved with LSU. We know politics got involved a couple years ago. Then we know Herman and his agent played Joe for the fool to get Texas to divvy up. We also know that now Joe has given Coach Orgeron a big buyout. If LSU was to fire him, they'd have to pay something like $12 million. You just got to pay less, $9 or $10 million. Joe is not great with the money. Unfortunately, the SEC gives him a lot of money, but TK, I want to focus more on what happened in the game, but okay. Suffice to say, the AD's made some major mistakes with hiring and money. Now, Will Wade is a home run. We think Dave Aranda is a home run. Matt Canada now, the jury's got to be out on him a little bit.
I never thought I'd say this. When does basketball start? No, here we go. LSU did get in a groove tonight, a losing groove. That's pretty clever right there. Geis looks like he lost a step from last year.
And I've said that all week. All season.
Why did Miles Brennan not play?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
now
Miles
the
Brennan
only
should have been in that game, in my opinion.
The
but
only
it's not
thing
up
I
to
can.
me. How does State get better talent than LSU in the trenches? Does not make sense. I thought early in the game Etlin went to Shark too much. Didn't look for other receivers. That's a text message there. But anyway, so not looking good there, buddy. It didn't look good. Let's go to Scooter in Starkville, Mississippi. Scooter, you're on a post-game show.
Hey, man, this is Scooter Davis up in Starkville, Mississippi.
Hello, Scooter. Happy Saturday night, and I guess you got wore out by the Mississippi State faithful tonight.
Well, buddy, I heard so many cowbells in my ears, it was unreal.
Well, they had every right to ring them tonight because they basically took it to LSU, and LSU didn't have any answers. Scoot, you were there. You saw. You knew it was a big atmosphere. When did you start worrying, and what do you think was the play or two or the momentum that broke LSU's back?
Well, buddy, let me just tell you what I saw. First of all, our defense stayed in Baton Rouge. They never showed up. Our offensive line, I don't think they can block what everybody says they can do. And I think our coach just got out-coached. That's just the way I see it, buddy.
Yeah.
Golly. Mississippi State's an unranked team. We're the number 12 team coming into the country, and we get beat like this. We just didn't get beat. We got beat, brother. And I don't know. You had 2 kids ejected. I've never seen that in college football. But I don't know, buddy. We got a lot of answers. We got a lot of questions we got to answer, man.
You know, after you have one guy on the defense, you're already shorthanded with the suspensions. Frank Aron ought to be playing. He's probably going to be out 3 more games. Rashard Lawrence not able to go. Edwin Alexander, overweight and can't get healthy, and he got dinged and got knocked out of the game. And you got a senior in Donnie Alexander. And, Scoot, here it is. You get off the field on 3rd down, and after the play is incomplete almost, and I know it's hard to stop your momentum, but what is he doing leading with the crown of his helmet to get a targeting? Not only does he get tossed, but I'm pretty sure, TK, they went down and scored there. I don't know if it was a field goal or touchdown. And they did it again. Scooter, it's a very undisciplined football team right now, and somebody needs to watch the tape. DJ Chark, who we love to death, he's watching Derek Dillon almost run into the end zone, and he blocks in the back at the 2-yard line. Now, they scored on that drive, so it didn't hurt them. But LSU's football IQ right now leaves a lot to be desired.
Oh, I agree. I mean, they're very undisciplined. I mean, buddy, you just don't get penalized 112 yards, 115, whatever they was penalized. I mean, my goodness. It's just they're very undisciplined, and Coach Hill better find some answers because you got to play Auburn coming into your house. You got to go to Florida. You got to go to Tennessee. You got to go to Alabama.
You got to go to Ole Miss, too. Ole Miss has got a great
go to
offense.
Ole Miss, too. Ole Miss is wearing Cal out right now.
Hey, Scoot, I will say this. TK, you and I probably agree on this. Controversial call on Stephon Sullivan.
I agree.
They called pass interference on him. It looked like he was not trying to block, was just trying to run through the route. That was a big momentum changer, but as we watched the game, the bottom line is that Mississippi State, Scooter, dominated the game in the trenches tonight.
Hey, the whole game. I give their coach all the credit.
Dan Mellon had a hell of a game plan.
Hey, well, I think we got our coach, buddy.
There's no doubt.
Our coach.
There's no doubt.
I think he out coach.
Yep.
Goes wrong.
Hey, man, be careful coming back home here.
Okay, man. I love you guys.
All right, man. Hey. Take care.
All right, buddy, one thing about it, they do play Syracuse next week, but the 2 guys ejected have to sit out the first half next week. That's part of that rule. So, and again, they play at Syracuse, again, either a 6 or a 6:30 kickoff. We don't know the exact time, but it was bad from the get-go, and it's hard to find anything good. Discipline and a lack of effort on defense concern. Offense still a work in progress, old-fashioned butt whipping. Another text message, more about the team in the trenches. Buddy, here you go. You ready for this text message? No team, no heartbeat. Will Coach O be on the chopping block if he loses 5 games this year? I don't
Too
think it's
early
fair
to talk
say
about
that.
it.
It's not
Too
fair.
early.
It's not fair to say that now. You just have to remember what happened in Starkville. And if this starts happening again and it becomes frequent, then the chopping block gets cleaned up or whatever. But I don't think you say it after tonight, in my opinion. Let's see, they slapped us around tonight. That should never happen. Well, those are accurate statements, comments, and points. We let people make their comments and points, and the text message line lighten up, phone message, the whole thing, buddy. And it's just a really bad night. That's going to be a long flight home, isn't it?
Well, it just goes to show you Vegas doesn't always get it right, and LSU was a 6.5, 7.5 point favorite. I don't know what the final line was, but
6 or 6.5, I think I saw earlier today.
The smart money went on Mississippi State at the last minute, and they were ready. Look, and this is what I like about Dan Mullen. Let's give him credit. They got up on LSU, and they had a couple. TK, I talked about this. Fitzgerald was going to put the football in the breadbasket of the running back, and he was going to read the defensive end and tackle, and either stick it in there or take it and run or step back and make the chunk. And boy, LSU blew some coverages and had some wide open touchdowns. Give up.
Let's go to Patrick in Houston. Patrick, you're on the post-game show.
Yeah, hey, buddy. How you doing today?
Hey, Patrick.
Well, I'll tell you, the hurricane hit, had to do volunteer work again and, take out sheetrock and, go throw the trash out of the house, and then LSU loses. I mean, how bad is it yet?
Well, you did have a prediction. I think Big Sal actually might have nipped you on the prediction, but you were one of 3 people who picked Mississippi State out of about 50, and I guess it was fool's gold. Now, the thing about life, Patrick, as we all know, is that you find out about yourself through adversity. We're all great winners. TK, we go play golf and I shoot 75 with 4 birdies. I'm buying you beers and I'm in a great mood. I shoot 92 and lose 20 to you. I'm not much fun to be around. And the bottom line is that, as we've often said, life is 10% of what happens and 90% of how you deal with it. Everybody's going to point fingers. Everybody's going to tell them they stunk. Everybody's going to tell them how bad they are. Patrick, we're going to find out about this team in the next 3-4 weeks.
Tell the truth Monday.
Tell the truth, Patrick.
Well, I just think the first question that pops into my mind is the 2014 Auburn game, where it was like 41-7, and LSU came back and had, a great season, a good season, came close with Alabama and did good. But this looks worse than the 2014 Auburn game.
No, buddy, that was 1999 when Auburn beat LSU.
No, 2014 was at Auburn, and it was 41-7.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the one in Baton Rouge. Okay.
No, it was at Auburn. It was at Auburn. It was 41-7. Auburn won in 2014. And I was just wondering, it was the very first SEC loss, and does that, can the team even get back after that? And Ogeron, by the way, is 0-3, and Starkville, as the Advocate talked about.
Yep, 10 years ago, we all know that Coach O got fired when he went for it on 4th down, and that was brought up this week. And he's 0-3 in Starkville. Dan Mullen gets a second win against LSU. Right. Patrick, you got anything to close on a positive note from Houston?
Well, the only thing we can come up with is for the scores. I guess you'll have to look at who picked the number system, for the 3.
Yeah, I'll announce that on Monday, bud.
Okay.
Okay, man.
Thank you,
bud.
Patrick. We'll take a break. When we come back, Brian Lazar of Tiger Bait's going to join us. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Chrysan, 37-7. Bulldogs beat the Tigers. We're back with Brian Lazar after this pause. Stay with us.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a Formal Affair.
My name's Raven. I work at Debbie's Bridal, and she makes your dreams come true.
Acord Eye Clinic Vision Source is located on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge, offering full-service optical and lab work. Dr. Shonda Acord and the professionally trained staff pride themselves on service, complete eye exams, help with contact lenses, and selection of frames featuring Silhouette, Gucci, Jimmy Choo, and all the top lines. State-of-the-art equipment including Optimap, which digitally photographs your retina. Call Acord Eye Clinic for an appointment, 225-767-3937. That's 225-767-3937. Visit the website, visionsource-br.com. All patients of all ages are welcome. Acord Eye Clinic, Vision Source.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hi, I'm Jordy Helper for Tremonti's Meat and Seafood Market at 12451 Old Jefferson Highway. Chairman's Reserve steaks, their pork, their chicken, their seafood, top of the line. Primo barbecue pits, Icy Tech coolers. They can go anywhere and cater anything for you. Go to 751-7665 to call. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood Market, where good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood Market.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Sports Postgame Show. We're now joined by Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. Brian, what did Coach O have to say after the game?
Well, pretty much what you would expect. You know, disappointed in the penalties. Disappointed in the fact that they gave up 285 yards rushing. And but then I think he got to the crux of the matter. He says, we got beat on both sides of the line of scrimmage, on the offensive line and defensive line. And he admitted that his biggest concern coming into the week was whether or not they could block Mississippi State. And he says, obviously, we couldn't block them. Jeffrey Simmons had a good night. He played havoc with LSU. And, Ed talked about, we have to look at some personnel issues. That we had some guys that had been playing well against lesser competition, and they got into the SEC tonight. They couldn't cut it. So he says we just have to look and see who we're going to go with. And he said, Mississippi State isn't the best team we're going to play in the SEC.
Brian, I asked you on Friday about Danny Etling and Coach O, the national perception, and you said, well, we will see. Obviously the toughest task and test of the year. After this debacle, certainly a lot of catastrophe syndrome in this town and all throughout the world where Tiger fans reside right now. What's your analysis after LSU getting handled like that? We know the line of scrimmage, they lost the game, but I guess what I'm asking you is what do you think Coach O and the staff and players can do to get back and regain some of their confidence?
Well, I think they're going to you look at the schedule, okay, you're going to go to work, and look, buddy, so many people talk about what they're going to have to do to beat Alabama. This program is far away from Alabama right now. It has the first step this program has to take is just to be where it is the second best team in the West to Alabama. And it has not been that, since the 2012 season. 13, 14, 15, 16, they lost. Besides to Alabama, they lost to two other teams at least every year. So that's where LSU's got to get to the point. They got to get to the point where they're the second best team in the West. And you watch this game tonight, and look, I know there were penalties, and people would say, LSU had 2 touchdowns called back. Well, they scored after one of them got called back, so they really only got one that taken away. But that didn't matter. The second half, LSU did nothing. LSU was thoroughly dominated in the second half. And realize this, Mississippi State moved the ball down the field with their freshman quarterback at the end, and then kneeled with the ball inside LSU's 20. If they would have kept running plays, maybe they could have tacked on another touchdown.
You mentioned freshman quarterback, Brian. Did anybody ask Coach O or did anybody talk about maybe giving Miles Brennan a chance? Or with Mississippi State pinning their ears back, TK, he may not have wanted to put him in that situation because we saw Etling taking some punishment. What do you think about Brennan not playing? Mistake or a smart move, Brian?
No, they have no intentions right now of playing Miles Brennan. They're not going to look. LSU is not in the situation where they're a program and they say, okay, we're going to have a rebuilding year and we're going to take out our fifth-year senior who started all last year and go with a true freshman. They're not ready to do that. Now, this is what LSU is going to do. They're going to come back, try to get better, get 2 home wins against Syracuse and Troy, which would put them at 4-1, and then get ready for that back-to-back stretch against Florida and Auburn, which I've been saying all along, that's the back-to-back stretch that's going to determine the type of year LSU has. And now, did I expect LSU to be 4-1 going into that? No, I thought they'd be 5-0, and those 2 games would tell you whether or not LSU has a chance to win 9 or 10 games. Well, now you're talking about those 2 games, talking about whether or not LSU can win 8 games, depending upon what they do against Florida and Auburn. So that's what you're not going to see any changes, at the quarterback spot until, that 2-game stretch, and that's when you'll see. You'll see Etling against Florida. If he plays badly against Florida, they're coming home against Auburn. Etling would still start against Florida, and maybe if things go badly in the game against Auburn, then they would make a change. But I don't see them making any types of changes at quarterback until he's even thinking about anything until the Auburn game.
I just wanted to see if he was going to get some reps. I'm not calling for Brennan to come in for Etling. I just thought he might have had a chance to play, but I do know they were pinning their ears back and coming after the quarterback. So, Brian, anything else from Coach O?
No, I mean, look, he was pretty honest. He talked about the personnel issues, and I think the fact, the penalties were bad. But I think the story of the night was the fact that you were outplayed in the trenches by Mississippi State, and that's probably never happened. You probably would have to go back into the, maybe in the 70s. In fact, I was just looking at that to see. This is the fewest points LSU has scored against Mississippi State since 1975. That's the last time they scored less than 7 points against State. So this was just a bad night. It was very similar to the loss at Auburn, 41-7 3 years ago.
Brandon Harris starting.
Right. I think it was very similar, and we'll have to see. Remember, after that game, LSU became very conservative and said, "Okay, we're just going to try to win with our defense." Well, I don't. What you saw tonight, look what you're doing on the defensive line, buddy. You take Greg Gilmore and move him back outside the defensive end and play Ed Alexander, start him at nose tackle. Now, you did that to put your 3 best linemen on the field. I understand that. But then when, Alexander gets hurt, now you put Glenn Logan in. You work Logan at nose, because I'm sure that's because they had practiced Gilmore at end all week and they didn't want to make any changes there. And you're just, until Rashard Lawrence gets back, you're really in trouble up front. And Ed did say this after the game tonight. He said he does not know if Lawrence will be able to play next week against Syracuse.
Hey, Brian, tell us what's happening at TigerBait.com.
www.tigerbait.com, all the latest on LSU football, working on the rewind and an analysis. That'll be up before the end of the night. And then the grades tomorrow, and then it'll be a very interesting Ed Ogeron media luncheon, I'm sure, on Monday.
Thank you so much, Brian.
Okay, talk to you guys later.
That's Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. We'll take a break, come back. We're going to go to Starkville, talk to Ronnie Rance. He will have talked to some players. Ronnie Rance will join us and tell you what it was like in Starkville, in the locker room, meeting with the coaches right after the game. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Chrysan, 37-7, Mississippi State beats LSU. We're going to Starkville for a report right after this pause on the postgame show. Stay with us.
Cypress Lake Apartments are conveniently located off Segan Lane in Baton Rouge, a CLK multifamily management property. Come see this community, which has many amenities including swimming pools, fitness room, playground, and much more. 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. Stop by Cypress Lake Apartments, call 225-293-6789, or go online, live at cypresslakeapts.com.
6, 5, 4, 3.
I'm back. Roger Cador here. Come watch Clarence Bugs and I as we team up to bring up all of the positive things taking place at Southern University in the state of Louisiana. It can all be seen on the Pelican Sports. That's the best one. That's it. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. That's the best one.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr., and I am a general dentist at Fruget Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hooper Road Car Care in Central has been serving customers for over 24 years. Locally owned by Donald and Gina Gaspard, they provide all types of car care, including brakes, alignment, tune-ups, oil changes, AC service, transmission, computer diagnostic, and much more. Hooper Road Car Care also provides towing services. Call 225-262-7127. Open Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30, 9695 Hooper Road in Central.
Continue with the post-game show. We're going to Starkville to speak to Ronnie Rance of Sports Shorts Radio, Sports Shorts TV. Ronnie, what was it like after the game in the locker room in Starkville?
Well, obviously, as what you would expect, it was a pretty somber locker room. Coach O took responsibility for the loss. Obviously, he talked a little bit about some of the penalties and the calls, and hey, we'll take a look and see, some of them how questionable they were. But the bottom line is 20 penalties in 2 games, and even though they had 11 last week, 9 this week. The 9 this week felt worse. It felt bigger. There were so many that were such important, impactful penalties that affected drives and scores. It took 2 scores off the board. The mental mistakes were just brutal for the Tigers this week.
Ronnie, anything from Coach O? Was there any thought to putting Miles Brennan in when the game was out of hand?
No, not at all at this point. I mean, as a matter of fact, it was the other way around when you talk to folks, was that they got to get Etling going. They got to get him some rhythm. At no point, I don't think they're at that point in the season, obviously early on to where they're saying, okay, we're going to just build for next year. That's a conversation you may have, 3-4 losses down the road where you may say, hey, let's get them in there and get them some snaps for the future. But right now, they've got to go back. And, I talked, Gordy Rush and Jacob Hester after the game on the CSD postgame show, and they feel like, look, you got to hit the reset button and start from scratch. You got to, you can't just, do what you've done the last 2 weeks. This is the type of blowout and the type of game where you've got to totally restart over and get back to basics. And when we talked to some players, I talked to J.D. Moore and talked to some of the leaders of this team, they kind of regurgitated the same thing, that, hey, the coaches have been stressing not making mistakes and getting on the same page, but we just didn't do it. We had too many penalties. We had some confusion and some miscommunication, and they just got to do a better job of it. And the thing that nobody's mentioning, guys, is, hey, look, last year when Steve Ensminger took over as offensive coordinator, LSU led the conference. So the last 8 games of the season, or 7 games because you didn't play the Florida game, LSU led the SEC in offense. And, of course, Darius Geis was the best running back in the league. This year, under this new Matt Canada offense, even in the games against BYU and last week at UT Chattanooga, this offense, nor Darius Geis, has yet to look anything like it did against, say, Texas A&M a year ago. And Danny Etling tonight really struggled. So we've got to see this Matt Canada offense. Now, there's a lot of movement, but it's not really confusing the defense right now.
Yeah, Jumbo, we had a lot of text messages wanting to know if you saw Cam Cameron in Starkville tonight.
No, not at all. But, it's interesting is, you see all the shifts, you see all the movement, you see the guys going in motion, faking the jet sweep. But
hey, Darius Geis, has he had a big run yet? You know, I mean, he had one where he got to the left edge and gained, I think, maybe about 20 or something. But out of 3 games, 2 of them non-conference, we haven't had the big run that we usually got from him a year ago. And even at times when teams are playing 6-7 at the line, LSU hasn't figured a way to get the big plays, and that's a big part of their offense a year ago.
Yeah, Geis, Buddy said it all week on the radio. Here's a text message, not the same player, too worried about being on social media and riding ATVs. So, I mean, you know, it's easy to talk now, and when things go as bad as it went tonight, fingers get pointed everywhere. Buddy said that. Ronnie, anything else from the locker room? Hello, Ronnie.
Hey, we can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Anything else from the locker room?
Nothing major, Tommy, just other than they've got to get those corrections made. They highlighted everyone, players and coaches. They got to no penalties. That's the main thing that they focus on.
Ronnie, tell us all about Sports Shorts Radio and Sports Shorts TV.
Sports Shorts Radio, Mondays 6 to 8 on ESPN in Baton Rouge, and Sports Shorts TV, Mondays at 9, Tuesdays at 8, right here on Pelican. Check us out. It'll be, as Buddy says, spicy this week.
Very spicy.
There you go. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jumbo.
All right,
Have
Ronnie
a safe
Rance,
trip back.
from Starkville, Mississippi. You know, it's not coincidence that he made the comment, the text, following the things I heard you say all week on the radio about, you know, Geis isn't the same guy. We're not trying to rain on Darius Geis. He's not the reason it was 37-7. It's one of the things that gets talked about among the targeting penalties and the other penalties. And, there's lots of the punch list, the checklist is really, really long. And as Ronnie said, and Brian Lazar said, they got to get back to the drawing board here and start this thing over. I think, in a way, buddy, they're lucky they got Syracuse and Troy coming up as opposed to something like this happening and you got Auburn or Florida or who, because after those 2 games, it's nothing but conference play.
Well, it's always fun to watch the games back on the SEC Network or ESPNU or whatever, and this week it'll be a job and a chore to watch it. A lot of times we're driving over here and we miss some of the plays. TK, this is not one that you're going to enjoy watching over again. You go back and you start with the fact that LSU's been undisciplined in 3 games, averaging about 10 penalties a game. Jumbo made a great point. The ones tonight really hurt them. And the other thing that is so disconcerting is that there were stupid penalties. I mean, how can Donnie Alexander, as a senior, not control his emotions to hit the quarterback with the crown of his helmet after he's thrown an incompletion? And that kind of stuff went out on all night long. DJ Chark missing some balls. Russell Gage not turning around catching the ball. Bottom line is I think we got to give Mississippi State a lot of credit. They were a better team across the board. But this is very concerning as we go forward now here in 2017 about what they're going to do the next couple of weeks in preparation for 7 incredibly tough games in the conference.
Well, and you got to do that. You got to get it going. And I don't have the number in front of me, but there were more than 9 penalties. That 9 were assessed. So you throw in a handful more in all 3 games that weren't assessed. And this is something that Coach Orgeron said they brought more referees into practice. That doesn't solve it. It's the players that commit penalties. You can have 1,000 refs out there. I don't understand that. But he's smarter than me. He's getting paid a big bucks to be the coach. So anyway, a lot of things to clean up and try to get better, starting with Syracuse next week. We'll be on the air about 9:30-ish, give or take a little bit. We'll learn the kickoff time on Sunday evening or Monday with Syracuse. We do know it's either 6 or 6:30. We're going to take our final break of the evening. We'll come back, put a wrap on it, some closing comments from the Budman and myself. Don't forget you're listening to WUBR, CBS Sports Radio Baton Rouge. Get our app. There's a free app out there, WUBR. Take us with you 24/7. You can go on the computer at PelicanSportsTV.com or TuneIn.com on your laptop. You're like this one sitting here. Listen to us, but don't them smartphones. WUBR is the app. Take us with you wherever you go 24/7. And, of course, Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, and on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. Don't forget YouTube.com. youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. That's our channel where you can get a lot of the programming here, Sports Shorts, Tigers Roar, the Roger Kadar Show, lots of things there at YouTube. Check it out. We'll come back with the final segment right after this pause. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
My name is Dr. Nicole Rogers, and I'm here in Old Metairie, Louisiana at Hair Restoration of the South, where your hair is our care. And I'd like to invite you to come and visit and discuss various options for treatment of thinning hair. These can include both medical and surgical options. You don't have to go straight to surgery. In the meantime, feel free to check out our website, hairrestorationofthesouth.com, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Spread the roar. That's right, Tigers Roar. Each Wednesday night at 8 p.m., Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans. Replays are Thursday through Saturday, and the show is available at youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. Tommy Chrysan and Jordy Holtberg will have the latest on LSU football, LSU sports, and sports from across Louisiana. Spread the roar. Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV.
We continue with the Pelican Sports post-game show. Let's welcome to the set my oldest grandson, Brayson. Brayson, tell everybody how old you are.
7.
7 years old. Got his LSU shirt on. We might have to get him another one. Buddy, what's the most important things that LSU has to work on beginning on Tell the Truth Monday?
Well, I think you got to flush this one down the toilet and forget about it. They will obviously watch the film tomorrow. You start with penalties and how penalties took away a big play and a score off the board and hurt that momentum. Then you get into the play at the line of scrimmage. Coach O on the postgame talked about personnel. The problem that you have is you just don't have enough big-time players on the offensive and defensive lines. And then you got with Frank still suspended and Rashard Lawrence being out and injuries. It's just a real mess. Then you got to assess Matt Canada and what you're trying to do on offense. TK, you're 3 games in, and let me ask you, do you know the best player on offense? Not really. You know it's Darius Geis, but he hasn't shown it so far. What can Danny Etland do to complete the short stuff? Got to get more of a flow. I think the defense will respond and get back better, but you've got to get your act together because you got 2 games to get right again. And then, as we've talked about, that 7-game final stretch with the open date before Bama. I know there's going to be a lot of spice, but this is when we're going to find out about the backbone of this football team and program.
Buddy, this is the worst we've seen the defense look under Dave Aranda.
No
the
doubt.
Second half of that A&M game last year, A&M put up a lot of yardage and numbers, and Dave Aranda openly spoke about how that bothered him. But so I'm sure he's bothered. He's not happy with the yardage and the points and Nick Fitzgerald and the zone read and the 2 guys running wide open for touchdowns on hiding the football. So that's the worst we've seen Dave Aranda. And what we do know about Dave Aranda, he's going to begin immediately to correct and fix that? Because we know how bothered he was by the things that happened near the end of the A&M game last year.
Well, you got 8 guys that left the defense, and I think that you saw some of the youngsters tonight not playing as well, and even John Battle was out of position, and you missed a lot of tackles. And once again, back to the offensive line, and they had all kinds of penalties there. But TK, they have got to get more disciplined and play much smarter football. But I don't think you've got an identity on offense. And, you know, Jumbo and you and others mentioning that right now you kind of look at Steve Ensminger and what he did versus Canada. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Canada to get this thing moving on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. They didn't miss a field goal tonight, though.
Yeah.
There's a little silver lining for you.
And he did kick the PAT right down the pipe, I will tell you.
The kickoff, one went 1 or 2 yards deep?
Yeah, kickoff is right around, right about a yard deep in the goal line, and that wasn't a problem. Groudon probably has ice on his leg right now. He punted so much.
Yeah, he punted a whole lot tonight. No question
look,
about that.
not a lot to be positive from this game, but the LSU Nation will sleep on it. You'll be mad for a couple days. You'll get fired up Monday, Tuesday. You got to take care of business against Syracuse and then Troy, and then hopefully get it together, because we don't enjoy doing these games. I know sometimes people think that it makes us happy when they stink it up like this. We want them to win every game. It's good for business, and this is a big setback for this town, this program, this coaching staff, these players. Now we're going to see how they react to it.
All right, once again, we remind you, next week's game's either 6 or 6:30, sometimes Sunday evening or Monday morning. That'll be finalized. You know the drill now. We'll be in here as soon as that game's over, taking your calls and your text messages, the reports from the stadium. Next 2 games are at home, Syracuse, then Troy. 5 games in the month of September, and then, of course, the 7-game SEC gauntlet begins. So get to the drawing board. Probably a good thing, buddy, that Syracuse is coming in. Troy's probably a little better than Syracuse, but LSU's got no choice but to get better, clean up the penalties. If Coach Orgeron needs to look at personnel, start looking at it Sunday morning when you're looking at tape.
And I'm going to go ahead and agree with some of the callers. I think they may get dropped out of the top 25. You know, LSU.
It's going to, if they're in, it's in that 20 to 25.
They're 23, 24, 25.
They got a win against BYU, who has done nothing since.
Yeah.
Charleston win, and now they get clocked by 30 against a Mississippi State team who's perhaps a little better than people thought at this point. State's definitely going to be up into there about 15, 16, 17, or 18. If LSU doesn't fall out, you're looking at 23, 24, 25.
But hang in there, Tiger fans. You know, we know you love your Tigers. And, look, let's hope that the Saints don't lay an egg tomorrow. But we'll talk about it on the radio next week. And I can promise you we'll be grilling up some Manda hot and spicy sausage.
Well, we appreciate all the phone calls, all the text messages tonight. Again, a tremendous response from all over the world with the people on the smartphones all over the country. Smartphones and the internet. Brayson, can you tell everybody goodbye? Can you say goodbye? Goodbye? All right. On behalf of everybody at Pelican Broadcasting, including Brayson, Buddy Sonia, and myself, we appreciate you taking the time to watch the postgame show.